Hello folks, this is Paragon RG and you are watching a casted match of the very top quality. We have the Viper in the red on the southeast side of the map, playing as the Rus, and we have TheMuslim in the blue, playing as the English on the northwest side of the map. And this is on Altai, so you'll notice the large cliffs, let's say, the mountain ranges on each side. One peculiarity of this particular map spawn is that there are gaps in the middle on both sides. So we'll have to see how that plays into it. That may make it a little more easy to contest, for example, the sacred sites. We've got that sacred site in the middle. Let's take a look at our players here. So the Viper, generally considered the GOAT of Age of Empires 2, is obviously an absolute beast. And he won the first large prize pool tournament in Age of Empires 4, being the Genesis 20K tournament. On the other side, though, we have TheMuslim, who won the SteelSeries 20K tournament, and this was a huge upset. I think a lot of people didn't know who TheMuslim was. I saw him, I think, in early StarCraft 2 days, but hadn't seen him play AoE 4 at all. So I'm really excited to watch him play against the Viper now. I am curious as well if we see the Viper go. He's playing as the Rus. I want to know if he goes for the usual sort of horse archer composition, maybe with scouts. I'm not sure how well that actually works against the English, simply because longbows should just counter horse archers. Unless I'm missing something, a straight longbow play should beat that. So I think a possibility from the Viper would be something like early knight play in the feudal age. So we'll see if maybe he goes for a pretty fast feudal, although Rus players generally go for a fast feudal. Maybe just moderating how many vills actually build that first landmark, and then goes for early knights. So that's what I'm calling. We'll see if that actually happens. Pretty standard play here from the Viper. Otherwise, he's got the normal 3 buildings from the Rus. I'm going to switch over to his point of view. He's currently at 150 bounty. So heading off this way, taking out whatever hunt he can find. Of course, they patched the animation cancel for the Rus, so it's a minor nerf, right? It takes them a little longer. Look how long it takes to do all these shots. Normally, you could go ping, 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 and just take them all out. So definitely takes longer for the Rus player to get around the map. Nevertheless, he is already at 200, and I feel like he'll probably get to 250 just okay. I mean, without too many problems, he'll probably run to a wolf or two. Any extra sheep he kills would be 5, so it'll probably be okay on that front. We see a hunting cabin from him coming down on the berries as well. Let's take a look at the other side. Council Hall already coming down from our English player with 3 villagers working on it. So that should be up, let's say, a little after 4 minutes. We expect the longbow spam shortly after that. Quite a few villagers on wood, although I would expect more any minute now. And then otherwise, yeah, some villagers on food. So we'll probably see that shift toward wood when this thing is closer to its construction completion. The Golden Gate coming up for the Viper. Standard economic landmark for the Rus, also going up with 3 villagers. So neither of these players are too worried about that feudal age time. Neither are rushing it. They have very tight builds in the first part of the game. So if you execute everything tightly on that front, then really you can go up with a few vills and you don't lose too much. I mean, you might lose a bit of time, but then you gain back time of your villagers actually collecting resources as well. See that wooden fortress going down from the Viper, of course, for defense, but it is also just an investment, since all the villagers dropping off to any lumber camps in its influence after this point will drop, I believe, 20% more. So we'll check back on that shortly. Scout fighting wolves, a few more sheep behind it. So the Viper has passed 250 bounty, so he has hit that all-important tier 2. He's got 2 scouts running around on the map, and a total, yeah, so that's his whole military here. He hasn't gone too crazy with scouts, and we'll see if so TheMuslim has reached the feudal age, and I could be wrong, but I believe it's generally pretty rare to see English players going for professional scouts. I don't really expect it here. I mean, they'd have to build a stable for sure. And even though the Chinese have to build a stable, they have a means to produce more quickly. Even Delhi can produce out of their stable more quickly. English have no such advantages. So the longbow spam is coming out, and you can see on the minimap, right? Just look at those dots. Off they go. We'll see if the Viper spots that when he does. Hasn't actually seen his opponent's base yet, but I think that's okay. When you're playing against the English, you can generally assume that they're going to be producing longbows. Not necessarily a longbow all-in, but you can assume some number of longbows. And we see them still being produced from here. These things just produce so quickly. Heading back over to DeMuslim's view, he has 8 military, so that should be 7 longbows and 1 scout. Longbows now getting to the villager line. And I'm kind of actually curious. Does he have a scout? Oh, the scout's here. I was wondering, how can you shoot these guys across the wood line? That's a beautiful scout placement here. That allows, you know, having the sight lines here means that you can have archers potentially at a weird angle sniping those villagers. And the Viper may not even be able to see you very well when you're doing so. Although I guess once you shoot, the wooden fortress should see you. So here we go. Longbows coming back in. We'll see how many kills they get and how Viper deals with it. Villager does go down. Viper being very calm here, just shifting his villagers back a little bit. He doesn't move a single one into the wooden fortress. So very, very cool, calm, and collected from him. He will probably do so here as these longbows come by because it's such a short distance. He can just pop them in. So we'll see what he gets up to. Another villager going down from the Viper. Pops them in. Let's see how many kills. No kills on the longbow. So far, excellent play from DeMuslim. Punishing what appears to be a pretty safe wood line. Maybe the Viper should have a wooden fortress that's a little farther forward or something like that. But just in general, excellent play from him. This scout has gone down, though. I did not see the means by which it did. But that really will remove the Muslim's ability to take out villagers on this wood line, right? I mean, he'd have to come around to about here, and you're so close to the town center at this point, or something like here, and then you're pretty close to the wooden fortress. So he pulls back for the time being. He's going to be adding an outpost just in front of Viper's base. This will be a nice little launching point for future invasions, and remember, with the English network of castles, this will provide a 25% bonus to the attack speed of all of his units, but particularly longbows. You see him healing up a little bit with the campfire. There, Viper running around with some more scouts, just generally keeping an eye on things. It's a little hard to see where he's scouted now. Hopefully in the new year they fix the, let's call them the Fog of War scouting issues, Fog of War explored issues. Now, Viper coming out with a bunch of archers of his own. So basically just waited until he had enough of a mass to hopefully deal with this group. And I think he does. And this scout, actually, these scouts might do a pretty good job tanking hits. And he's close enough now to these archers. He's closed the gap. Looks like he's going to clean up this whole force, which is excellent, excellent play by him. Economy, 28 for Viper, 30 for DeMuslim. But military is now skewed heavily in Viper's favor with a 3-to-1 ratio. So you've got to figure DeMuslim needs to now figure out how can he stabilize at his home. How can he not take too much damage from this? Because even a 2-villager lead can snowball in some way or another. But with Viper now having the military lead, we'll see how he's able to pull that off, if at all. He's going to take out this longbow. Doesn't quite. I think he sees it. He wants to. He's clicked it. Okay, he's going to pull short. He's getting too close to that town center of the English. And remember, English town centers fire double the arrows, so they are particularly mean to be around. Let's keep an eye on these archers. Viper pulling back for now, has some more archers at home as well. And let's see what he's getting up to back here. So I like this a lot. I was calling the early nights, and we now see stables. So it is possible early night play now comes out, but that being said, he's not on gold. He is not on gold that I can see, so this may be all-out scout play. Sorry, horsemen. Horsemen is what I meant. I'm thinking scouts from Age of Empires 2. So horsemen mass coming out from the Viper on 3 stables, and there's no way that DeMuslim has scouted this. So I'm guessing Viper stops making these archers. He may even engage a little more to try to encourage DeMuslim to increase his own archer mass. DeMuslim is not currently doing that, however. He is pretty close to getting to the castle age, has more than enough gold for it, maybe a little high on the wood, and 200 food away from doing so. The Viper, on the other hand, has just invested 450 wood into his stables and is now pumping out horsemen. So he is nowhere near the castle age. He needs a push here. He needs to do a lot of damage. He can afford his opponent getting to the castle age to a degree, right? I don't think veteran longbows will be too big of a deal if Viper has... Whoops. If Viper has the military to deal with them. However, English can still just go knights, for example. And really, what are horsemen and basic archers going to do against knights? So, another outpost coming down from the Muslim. This one was taken out quite some time ago. Viper now pushing out first with his archers. Horsemen catching up nicely. There's 6 of them there now. And they are probably being directed, yeah, right out to the middle of the map. So he's trying to get map control. This is Viper's time to push. He knows he has the military advantage. Let's take a quick look at what that is. 32 to 9. And actually 36 economy to 35. So I'm not sure what's happened with the Muslim here. Did he miss some... He may have missed creating some villagers. King's Palace is coming up for him now, though. So he will be able to catch up on that front. He'll be in Castle Age, so maybe we'll see something like... I don't know, if he wants to put down a stable, something like a few knights to hold back Viper's push, and then get the economic advantage with those villagers. Viper does prevent this outpost from going up. Excellent play from him. These longbows rather, will now no longer get that bonus. And he's been hiding these horsemen the entire time. Going to run out behind his opponent's force. Yeah, runs around this stone. That's the right play. The Muslims trying to use that to make things awkward and difficult for the Viper. Horsemen getting a nice jump on them. There's no snare mechanic or anything, so he is able to get away here. Has a bunch of villagers garrisoned inside of his King's Palace here. But look at the initiative now. I mean, Viper's going to run right past this, probably to back here. And I don't see how DeMuslim's going to keep him off his wood line. So DeMuslim has a ton of idle villagers right now. 17 idols. And that's actually going up. Yeah. It's more than that. It's probably something like 24 because that, there's villagers running around as well who are not idle, but also not getting any resources. Viper runs into the stealth forest to build 3 battering rams. I like this so much. DeMuslim is not going to see this coming. I mean, he may expect that battering rams are coming, but from where? He won't be able to spot them. They're going to be on him possibly before he can do anything about it. So the Viper appears to be... I was about to say the Viper appears to be all in on Feudal Age, but now if you look at his resources, we can see that he is actually working for the Castle Age and is pretty close to that. 42 economy for him, 44 for his opponent, so never too late to add a town center, and once he's in Castle Age, he can potentially use those stables to produce knights, maybe do that death blow. Deal the death blow to the Muslim. Veteran longbowman on this side, you see that nice 9 attack with 7 tile range, so these units are very, very good. Viper causing some mischief along the front lines, maybe drawing some attention this way. Look at the Muslim, though. He knows something's up, right? Look where these archers are. Keeping an eye on... So he wants to keep this villager alive to get this wall up, looks like, but he may even loop behind this wood line. Here they come. Here come the rams. These villagers will go down. Looks like the Muslim is about to try to put some walls up, maybe? Something like that. Both villagers going down. The Muslim now on the back foot. Villagers trying to stay away, although they may at any moment jump on these rams if Viper is not careful. So one way a lot of players lose in this position is by not micromanaging their rams as well as they could. Here come the villagers with the torches and the pitchforks going right for the rams. Viper, cool and calm, leaves them as they are. Takes out this lumber camp. That's a nice one to take out. Look at that concave. This thing had access to the entire wood line here, so that will have to be rebuilt by DeMuslim. How many villagers can he take out here is a big part of what's going on. These rams are really expensive, but Viper is losing his army to the longbows. He's losing the rams. It's now 47 to 40 economy in the Viper's favor. This ram also going down. A few things need to be rebuilt, but generally... Yeah, I don't know. The damage done here, I think, is middling. It could be better. Let's see if the Viper adds a TC. So he's more than halfway up to Castle Age here with 5 villagers speeding that along. moving out to the sides, using the map control he had. But I say had here, he's lost it, right? The longbows are now pushing right down the middle of the map. Viper's on the defensive, and I think he may need to switch into knights. More horsemen coming out in the meantime. And you know what? He's saving up a ton. Oh, that's the Viper. He's saving up a ton of food. Almost looks like some kind of fast Imperial, but there's no way that it is. I don't think he has the gold, though, so we'll see if he sells a bunch of wood. Does he have the... Oh, he has this, so he can sell... Actually, he has 11 supplies available to sell a ton of wood, so wouldn't be surprised to see his gold shoot up any minute now and maybe switch to knight production. We can see upgrade to knight coming along. Knight production is happening. No sell on the wood just yet. In the meantime, horsemen running down the flanks. Viper trying to cause as many problems as he can. Scout jumping on top of the villagers, but surprise, English villagers have bows, so only so much you can do there. 17 longbows getting behind enemy lines. Didn't see if the Viper lost any villagers. I don't think he did. Not really any losses on either side in that particular conflict. Longbow's just sort of wandering around here. Now, he needs to be... The Muslim needs to be so careful here. The Viper got that economic advantage. The villager lead. He is now producing knights. You know, he hit the castle age, so... With all those horsemen, the Muslim should know Viper has the capabilities to produce a ton of knights. And being so annoying here, keeping Viper off this wood line. He may need to abandon it entirely. But the tricky thing is, like, where is he going to go? Here? On this map, I always have a hard time finding a good wood line. Like, my brain tells me, like, oh, there should be another one, I don't know, here. Or maybe there should be some on the sides, but there's zero wood lines on the sides. So, excellent job just keeping Viper off. Viper now is a mangonel, though. And I think has he been selling... I don't think he's using his Golden Gate at all. And I don't know if there's some intent here or not. But mangonel... Yeah, I think this is a little premature from the knights, but at least temporarily pushing back the longbows, and his villagers can get a little more access to the wood in the meantime. Quite a few more knights coming out now, and these longbows can't really hang around because of that mangonel. So it looks like the Viper will clean this up. Meanwhile, knights on the back line of the Muslim, driving away the villagers on his own wood line. So both players really effectively raiding each other's access to resources. Runs away, doesn't lose any knights there, takes out a few villagers. Quick count on the economies. Viper 53 to Muslim 46. Viper still has only one town center, but has done a more effective job at taking out villagers, despite the fact... Oh, look at this nice flank with these horsemen. He's going to take those out as quickly as he can, but these longbows are not long for the world. These knights will just take out these spears, just jump on them kind of thing. And in fact, this mangonel might even finish the job on the spear here. Oh, 1 health. Yeah, don't want to let that guy take out a mangonel. Deals with that. Let's see what the Viper's up to. Still has these 2 knights being annoying, but the villagers are starting to actually take them out. And yeah, I mean, those villagers will do it, but he is losing villagers here. Have to think that's a success from the Viper. Continuing to mine gold on the side, so really well played from him, as well as having that hunting cabin running out of his source of meat there. But may even move on to the boar after this. How many villagers? 6. Might not be enough for the boar, but we will have to see. Mangonel currently unpacked. I definitely prefer to see players leave them packed. In this instance, they could get jumped on by, you know, even a couple of spearmen, and it could be really difficult for them to do anything about. Mangonel taking shots on the villagers. Maybe not the most effective way to raid unless they all group up like this. Spears and archers now from the Muslim. Going to try to push out this force from the Viper, but it looks like the Viper is hanging back. What is he? Ooh, going to take out this mangonel. This looks like a pretty effective hold from the Muslim. I'm trying to figure out what the Viper is up to, though. He must be... I mean, here come warrior monks. We see, so he has 1 relic now. He's probably trying to grab every relic on the map and just generally be annoying. More mangonels coming from him. So this maybe looks like a little bit of a slower push, but really a death push. I mean, you know, what number of spearmen is going to do anything about this? The Muslim is being smart in keeping his spears in the spread formation, so we'll only have so much success. But shots coming at the villagers now. Muslim needs to be so careful. Only a partial wall coming out from him. Take another look. 60 villagers for the Viper, 45 for the Muslim. He's stuck. He's stuck at this number. Knight's now looping around from the Viper. He is going to be so annoying from this point on. He knows the Muslim is walling himself into his own base, right? That he's going to be so happy about that situation. It's exactly where he wants to be. And in the meantime, he's just going to poke, prod, and keep the advantage. Is there a... Okay, so... Oh, Viper needs to pull these mangonels. They're going to go down so quickly. Not forward. Not forward. Oh, it's a big mistake coming out from the Viper. Looks like these knights, for a minute, might just try to take this fight. Could have even picked this up for a Wololo, maybe. Would have been a nice play. I know Wololos aren't, you know, they don't succeed that often. Taking the Sacred Site, very nice. Knights on the back line. Wololos don't succeed that often, but they are excellent zoning tools. So if you're trying to keep units away from your siege, I mean, what better than a Wololo? It prevents all the spears from running in. And there's no way a bunch of spears will be able to take out the monk. Maybe the warrior monk, but they'll have a hard time. Taking out in time, especially with some body blocking from your own troops. The Muslim trying to seek out these knights. They may run off if Viper notices this in time. We'll see if the Muslim clears it up. They do run off. May lose another knight here. Looks like he will be okay. So Viper still has 13 supplies. So he's obviously used some, but not that many. He has a lot of gold built up, but that is really pretty okay if you're in this situation with all these supplies that can be used for the favorable trades. So, you know, all of this gold, each 100 of it can be 150 of whatever other resource you want, as long as you have supplies in your, I forget what this thing's called, the Golden Gate, in your Golden Gate. Okay, so Viper with the Sacred Site on the left, taking the one in the middle. He'll probably head over here next. So generally just solidifying his lead. He's probably pretty happy that his opponent is producing spearmen. You can only get so much done with spearmen. And then even longbows. I mean, yes, they can make rams, but are they really going to end the game? You know, are they going to kill it? I highly doubt that. Looks like Viper's Warrior Monk does go down here. But he did succeed in taking the Sacred Site. Mangonel's firing away on the spearmen. Yeah, we'll see if this is a good fight for the Viper. This, to be honest, this feels a little experimental. I think his, you know, players know, especially coming from Age of Empires 2, that knights in the right quantity can just take the battle against the spears and then clean up the rest of your opponent's army. That doesn't look like what's happening here. I mean, it's not quite what's happening, right? You know, a couple of these knights at 2 hit points, ready to go down at any moment. So we'll see if Warrior Monk comes out maybe and heals them up. A little bit of a horse archer switch now coming out from the Viper, and here comes that Warrior Monk. So hopefully he keeps these troops alive. It will be much more useful to him that way. Hunting cabin coming up. That is a very aggressive hunting cabin. This looks like it's coming up for the gold generation. So there's a lot of trees in this circle around it. And so let's see how much gold this thing generates. 47 per minute. Yeah, very nice. That's a worthwhile investment. How much do these things cost? I don't play enough Rus. 100 wood. So within a couple minutes, this thing has paid itself off in gold, although of course it could go down pretty quickly if you are not careful. Ooh, not a good first shot with those mangonels. I think Viper needs to get those out. We're going to go down pretty quickly here. One goes down. Second about to go down, but quite a few horse archers out here now. And we'll see if he gets the mass he needs. I pointed out earlier that longbows should counter horse archers pretty effectively. But his opponent has a ton of spears mixed in, and horse archers will absolutely pummel spears. They don't get any bonus damage against them, but with 13 damage each, and each spearman having 110 health, they just won't last very long at all. So if he can clear up his opponent's spears, presumably he can get in here with a few knights and just kind of finish the job against the longbows. So we'll see if that... Okay, I actually didn't see these knights. I didn't see where they came from. So here they come now onto the longbows. Horse archers pushing him back. The Muslim is now in a really rough spot. I don't think he has anything to counter these units. Horse archers are almost certainly overtuned. They're a little too good. as it stands in the current build of the game. But, you know, that aside, just as a composition, Knight Horse Archer is pretty mean, right? I mean, you counter other archers really effectively that way. You have the speed. You can always pull back, kill their spearmen. You can turn into some sort of raiding build. Have a little bit of a hard time getting through walls, maybe, but the knights can still use their torches. So Keep has gone down on the sacred site in the middle, and the Viper has enough resources to go up, which he's doing. Which he's doing. He's going up to the Imperial Age. I think that may just seal the deal. I don't know. I think if the Muslim sees Vipers at Imperial, I think he'll just call it. I mean, he knows he's going to have a really hard time against Horse Archer, especially Horse Archer Mangonel. Yeah, you know what? That's something I didn't think of earlier. Is the addition of the Mangonel really makes it so. I don't think the longbows really counter the Horse Archers anymore. So Viper with that composition, with a Keep in the middle, which is basically in front of the Muslim's base on this size of a map. He has all 3 sacred sites. I didn't see when he got them, although I don't know if that's going to come into effect. He's starting to loop around to the west side of the map, around the mountains, so we'll see what he gets up to. Maybe even kills a boar or something. It's worth it for the 75 gold. Viper does hit the Imperial Age. And there it goes. The Muslim just calls it. So victory for the Viper as the Rus against the Muslim as the English on Altai. Excellent play by both, but the Viper just a bit of a better job at keeping down his opponent's economy. This has been Paragon RG. I hope you enjoyed the match. If you did, like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.